our channel. I am Rupali Shah, a blockchain developer and your instructor at Newton School. Now, today's topic is variables, and we are gonna first talk about what is variable. By the way, we covered these things in a previous video, but it was not in a detail, and I want to discuss this topic in a detailed form. That's why we are with another video. Now, these variables should be uh, first be declared and then initialized. So, we will be going through all the processes, but let's get started and first see what are variables. So, basically, variables are memory locations. Now, this memory location would be somewhere. So let's go into the deep of what are variables, and then we will be looking at types of variables and how to use them in JavaScript, because our whole series is dependent on JavaScript as a programming language, but other languages are similar, only few things would be changed. So variables are the memory location. Now, memory location exactly means that they are a place in your memory where you can store something. Now, to give and elaborate this particular thing, let's create one diagram and then have a deeper look inside this variable part. Suppose you have a computer, right? Now, in this computer, there would be a CPU also. This CPU would be having a RAM in it. Now, this RAM is basically a chip sort of things. So, let's create a chip over here. So, this would is suppose your RAM. Now, this particular RAM has few segments in it, and let's have some segments over here. Now each segment has has a capability to store something. Now suppose you open your web browser. Now this web browser would be allocated a memory in your RAM. Okay. And this web browser when have a memory in the RAM, it basically stores everything which is going in your web browser uh, at that particular time in your RAM. Now this part, suppose this first segment, let's mark this first, second, and third. Suppose this first segment has allocated some memory to your web browser. Now, in our previous video, we wrote three lines. One was var name, the second was name is equals to world, and the third one was to print something, right? So this var is a keyword which basically helps you to define variables. Now whenever your JavaScript was compiling and it saw this var keyword, it will would allocate a memory. Now this name is basically helps you to identify the location. Now this was a RAM and this was the space which was given to this browser to store something, right? So these spaces have some addresses, and these are very weird addresses like 0xff1, then 0xff2, 0xff3, something like that. So what does this var does this name and this var, two particular thing, what does this do is it helps us to point a memory in your RAM with a name. So now suppose if I had declared a var name, so I will be having something like this, that name will point to this particular address. So anything that would be stored over here can be retrieved with the help of this name. So variables basically helps you to give names to your memory addresses, and so in future whenever you want to store something new in it, or you want to get something out of it or retrieve out of it, you can simply use this particular name which is human friendly, and you can easily remember these things. But to remember the whole address of a memory is very complex, and it's not so feasible. That's why we have this name, which basically points to the address, and this is the particular address which was pointed by this name. Now this line we understand, okay, what this do. Now whenever someone encountered with this particular line, name is equals to world, what it would do, it would go to this address and it would store world over here. Now this is a computer, so of course the things won't be stored in alphabets. It would be converted to the binary form like 0 and 1, and then that is particularly stored over here. And okay, so this was a bit intro of a variable. Now, after getting okay, what is variable? Let's see the types of variable in JavaScript and how to declare and initialize those types. So, for that, I will be using Newton's Launchpad, and Newton is basically a platform, an online platform, a edtech company that helps you to learn good stuff and become a full stack developer without paying a single rupees at the beginning. So basically, you first come to the platform, you register yourself, you learn stuff, and after learning, you get a placement. And when you have a placement in your hand, then only you have to pay for the fee for the learnings. So, if you want to become a full stack developer, don't forget to check out this channel, uh, and basically this particular website, and the link is provided to you in the description. So, don't forget to visit this particular website. Now I'm using Newton's Launchpad, and here we have discussed what all these things are. So today also we will be having the console program only. So let's first open our developer tools. Okay, and let's just minimize over this. Okay, let's just resize it a bit. So yeah, this was the name given to your memory, and then we store the value in that memory, and after that we just retrieve it over here. So if you want to have a look on it, you might be okay. Let's just have this. So we have hello world. So this world is coming from the memory, this name. So basically, JavaScript is a dynamically typed language, and it is loosely typed language. So what these two terms means is that if you have declare a variable and assign it a value of string, that doesn't means that you can't redefine that particular variable. So, what I am trying to say is that suppose you have a var keyword and you said, okay, I want a number n, and this n should be storing a value 4. So, first, okay, before having this onto our page, let's first be more uh, deeply understand the variable working. Now, so first, let's have what are the types of variable that JavaScript has to give us. So there are three primitive types, two void types, and two complex types. Now, let me show you the types of variables first, and then we could go deep into it. So we have types of variables, types of variables, and here we have three types of variables. Basically, one is primitive, the second one is null or void type, and the third one is um, complex type. So this is a type which we are not gonna discuss in this particular video. We will be covering the primitive type and the null and undefined type. So basically, these are also primitive type variable only, but they are a bit different. So first, let's see how many types of primitive variables we have in Java. So there are three types of variables, primitive variables. One is number, the second one is string, and the third one is boolean. And the null type or void type are two types. One is null, and the second one is undefined. Let's have this instead of undefined. And this complex type are also two types. One is object, and the other one is array. So we will be having a separate video for both of these types, and this time we will be having a discussion upon this primitive and null type. Now, number means the values from 0 to 9, any digit from 0 to 9. The string contains anything in semicolon, that quotations, double quotes or single quotes, and the boolean is basically the logical type. So first, let's declare all the three types. So we have this name, and we have given it a value of world. So let's just erase things from here now, right now. Okay. Yeah. And let's just give it world over here only. So basically, this was a string type. Then we would be having var n is equals to 4, and this will be number type, and then we will be having var bool. Okay, bool is equals to true, and this will be how many, hmm, boolean type. Now we have seen over here that these variables are declared without uh, defining their types in the beginning. That particularly means, and that is only loosely types of variable and dynamic types of variable. So basically, in JavaScript, in the beginning, when you are defining your variable or declaring your variable, you actually, or initializing a variable, you actually don't tell that which type of data it will be storing. And so the variable becomes the type which it has a value of. So, to prove my logic and to tell you that what I am trying to convey, let's have one more console log. And this particular console log will help us to print the type of variable, the name, the n, and the boolean is. So, for that, we have a function type of, and let's give it a variable. So, right now, you have seen that as soon as I said type of, and in brackets, as soon as I have written name, it printed string over here. So, to make it more clear, let's say that it will be telling me the type of name, and then we will be having same things for n and for bool. Okay, not wool, bool. And let's give this over here. So this was bool and this was n. So uh, I'm not able to zoom it. No issues, just focus on the last three lines. And right now let's just comment out this particular line, or let's just remove it. So yeah, we have these three console logs, and these three console logs are basically printing the type of variable it is. So we have seen that string, this name stored a string value. So whenever I call this particular type of function, basically we will be learning about function in further videos, but right now just uh, think that this type of is a function, and every function in JavaScript has round brackets, and in that round brackets we can pass our value. So basically this type of function takes the variable and return the type of the variable type, right? So this name is a variable type and it is string. Okay, this n is a variable type and it has returned us the number. Yeah, I'm not able to zoom in. I don't know how to do that. Okay, we'll look at this some other time. So we have seen that we gave. Okay, here is a problem. Right. So just focus on these three lines. So we were saying that this name is a type of variable type string. The n is a variable type number, and the bool is a variable type boolean. Now, uh, this was how we declared our variable, and this was the type of variable. So this name is or any variable have which contains anything between these things or these things would tell us that okay, this is a string. This particular means it is a string. Suppose in number or in name, if I put a number like 40, but I have these strings, so still our variable type is string. Suppose I just have true over here, then also we will be having the variable type string. So this is how we can say that anything which is between double quotes or single quotes will return string, means that variable will become string. Now anything from 0 to 9, means any digits from 0 to 9 would tell us okay, this is a number. So if I have oh, okay, this large number, still it is a number type, and it has basically, let's have all the digits. So you can see that anything from 0 to 9, if it has, it's a number. Now suppose I had a d over here. So, okay, it gave us an error because D is neither a number type nor we have put everything in a uh, that mm, that brackets, or we can say that quotations. That's why it throws a error to us. Now let's just remove this D, and suppose, and there is one more particular thing which is float. So suppose I have something in floating, so it will be saying that it is a number, but in real programming like in JavaScript it is considered a number only. But this number and this number, these two numbers are two different things. So number has two different category. One is integer and the second one is float. So integers are basically the numbers that are complete, that are not in decimal forms, and float are the numbers that are in decimal form. So now we have this bool, and boolean is basically the logical uh, data type which stores just two value, true or false. So this was all about the primitive types, the three forms of variables like string, number, and boolean. Now we have discussed two more types. Okay, let's have some space over here. Yeah, so we have declared two more types. One was undefined and the one was null. So let's say that we have a var and we have num, and we just want to print the type of num. So console.log, let's have this as num, and let's see that what is the type of num right now, because I have said you that if you don't means javascript don't has variable types until and unless we declare the value, because javascript took the value as a base to declare that okay, this variable should be of string type, this variable should be of number type, this variable should be of boolean type. So let's say that num, and here let's say that type of num. So you can see that I have just declared the variable, I have not initialized it yet. So let's say, okay, this should be num type. Now you can see that it has given us undefined as the type. That particularly means that your variable was defined, but you never initialized it. And that's why it says that it is an undefined variable. And null is a special type because it just hold one particular value. So suppose we have a variable L over here, and let's just give it a value null. It's basically a special type, and let's just copy this from our previous one, and let's say that I want the variable type of L. So right now it's giving us undefined because we are trying to get the type of variable num is. So let's just replace it with L, and okay, it showed you an object. So this is a catch in the JavaScript. In recent JavaScript, the null type was also be converted to the object type. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on your notifications to receive further updates. Thank you, guys.